You've made it again, you adorable rascals! Hey elementarians, how are you? I hope you're doing super duper fine. Welcome to chapter number 3 of this Hazbin Hotel redesign series. Once again, congratulations on reaching the like goal. It's thanks to y'all that this is possible. Like always, on my community page, I asked which characters you wanted me to redesign next and later made a poll. This way, you were able to choose which ones will have the misfortune to face me today. Once again, after this video reaches 100 likes, I'll be making a poll for the next batch, so stay tuned, and maybe subscribe to see what monstrosities I come up with next. Quick disclaimer, I am not a professional. I do not think of myself as being even close to the level of the people that work in the show. I just have enough ideas, boredom, and way too much will to do this. If you like the original designs, more power to you! This is all in good fun, and I do not have any intention in offending or harming anyone. Hope you have a good experience, and already, thanks for watching. Also, trigger warning for bugs in the whole video. It's only natural when you choose the characters that are based on bugs. So, sorry if you don't like them. We've already redesigned Charlie, Husk, Alastor, and Valentino. Their videos will be linked in the description if you want to watch them. I am going to try and explain the story we come up with up until now in a minute or less. Oh boy. Charlie is a creation of Lucifer and a beast tamer. She is the second leader of the Pride Ring, the Ring of Sinners. She was put in this place by her father as a way for her to watch over the beasts she's supposed to tame. She just got a little too attached to them and hated to watch them go with every single examination. So after some time and loads of planning, she ended up creating the Happy Hotel, a place where all sinners could go and try their best for a second chance. One of her first clients was a deer man named Alistair, bringing with him a sad bird man named Husk. That's essentially the basics of all we've done. However, there are some technical things, which I'll try to recall and explain when they feel needed. Without further ado, let's go with our first redesign.
Angel, you're a porn star.
A famous porn star.
I wasn't lying in the first video when I said I had nothing for Angel. And man, was this hard. Some of you were gentle enough to try and give me some ideas. For example, to base him on a jumping spider, which he is originally based on. I'm not going to complain, I probably didn't show it enough in my redesign either. But before we get into what I did, let's talk about my overall complaints about the OG design. In order to do this, I started drawing the characters' original designs, given that I kinda misran one of them in the last episode. This gives me a hands-on experience where I can examine and scream my heart out when I find something I don't understand or it's simply stupid.
Something like that. Why does he have a choker and... That's stupid. No, that's just stupid. How do you have a choker and a tie? Like, there's no need. There's no need. No need.
Something I notice with most, if not all of the characters, is that I don't quite enjoy drawing their hair, either because it's distracting, weird for character context, or straight up find it hard to draw myself. For Angel, I just find it weird, though I'll give it to them, it does make his silhouette recognizable. Then we have the spider inspiration. He has 8 limbs! Sometimes. Oh, but he also has 8 eyes! Also sometimes, and wrongly distributed given that he's based on a jumping spider. But who needs accuracy, right? I honestly don't mind this as much as you think. Yeah, I know, shocker. In fact, I'm quite grateful that they at least included these aspects. Not that I'll keep them as it is, but still appreciate it. You may have already heard my complaint about the choker tie combo. Still think it's stupid. But let's talk about his whole attire. The only thing I'd say, given his personality and line of work, are the boots and what I think is a miniskirt. The rest? I don't like it. I feel the suit doesn't fit the character at all, and the gloves feel unnecessary. Maybe it's because of the color, maybe it's just me. Overall, I don't find him sexy enough or even pleasant to look at. But I'm ace and almost, so not really my field. Color-wise, I don't know what to tell you other than there are a few too many colors, alongside the atrocity color line notice. I don't think there's a reason for this last one, so yeah, weird that he's the only one in the main cast that has this. Is it because his name is Angel? And finally, you have his body shape. I think it's a really neat detail for his fluff to be all up trying to maintain boobs. But why doesn't he have cake? If my female relatives have taught me something, it's that ass is one of the things people tend to look at and thirst over more. But he's as plain as a board. Why? I don't think I have anything else to complain about, so time for you to see what I did. One of the things I did almost instantly was to get rid of the choker tie combo by changing his wardrobe. I just did what felt natural. I gave him a corset. It will naturally bring his fluff up and give him more of an hourglass shape. I also gave him some sort of leg and arm warmers that are natural / from his own body. Felt like it added a little something while also going with Val's aesthetic. Like always, I wanted to push the insect aspect out more. Now he has 8 limbs, always out, the spider's secondary fangs. I wanted to include the usual ones, but I couldn't quite get them to work, so you ain't getting them. 8 eyes, distributed similar to the way jumping spiders are distributed. And again, some fluff alongside not giving him conventional hands. He still died of an overdose, and like the second rule says it is present in his design, with his irises and mouth glowing yellow for gluttony. Now, let me address the discrepancies. His clothes not being period accurate, aka 1947. Valentino, his owner, is an overlord, and given the nature of the beast control is more based on popularity, influence, and tendencies, I thought it was only obvious that Angel, under his command, would actually check his wardrobe and not be stuck in the past. And maybe not only his wardrobe. Second discrepancy, his insect inspiration. My rule for animal, beast contents in a sinner's body depends on the sins they committed before dying. The more sinful, the more humanoid. I think that Angel had committed enough sins to look human enough, and in the right places to look attractive. He would still have some insect parts though, the most prominent being his 8 eyes and 8 limbs. However, once he made a deal with Valentino, he had to change, undergoing some cosmetic changes. His extra eyes are sewn shut, and he's obligated to walk with 2 feet on the same boot. I did change his colors a little bit. I kept the hop pink, not only because it is iconic, but also because it represents love, which I do see in Angel. He strikes me as lazy and prone to staying still, content as long as he gets to live. Baby blue is for lust, there because of his job and promiscuous nature. It can also count as the translation of homosexuality if we make it that heaven is actually homophobic. And finally, yellow for gluttony, given the drugs and his possible dependency in them. Which, can I just say, I feel like he wasn't that present in the show. Not as much as he was in the pilot at least. It might have benefited the writing, showing more of his self-destructiveness and lack of control. Which leads us to the reason he might have accepted to work with Valentino. Yeah, addictions are something that severely affects a person's psyche, and abstinence is not easy to deal with without the right support, and even then it's very hard. It's likely that he ended up with Valentino on the lure of easy money to spend it all on drugs. Now, story. We know that Angel would be at the hotel just to escape from Val. But why would Val let him? Favors, of course. Being that Angel is his favorite and best worker, I see it possible for him to garner some favors. One of them being the possibility to live at the hotel. And because of demon law, it's likely that Val could not turn him down. But how would Angel know? Given his mafia background, even if desperate, he might be wary of these kinds of papers and actually read the contract, because Valentino would obviously not tell his employees. He probably still uses over-sexualization as a defense mechanism, usually leading people away from him. I don't know what to do with him just yet, and probably I won't for a while. You can ship him with my husk if you want. I actually don't see it just yet, but maybe an fanart would warm my stone cold heart. If Angel is your favorite redesign, leave a comment with the spider emoji. Let's continue forward with our next victim.
Nifty?
Sometimes I kill mother bugs in front of their children as a warning.
This one's for you, Larry. You can have her. I actually really like Nifty's original design. It's simple, unique, it stands out, and it actually uses shape language well. But something changed inside me once I started analyzing her design more in depth. We don't have a clear answer of what insect is Nifty based on. We just know that she is one. And my dumbass decided to look up if there were any one-eyed insects that I could base her on. There are none. So yeah, my main criticism, and probably only one, a criticism of one of the things that makes her hair, why one eye? Really, I don't have many complaints about her. I guess her color palette is fine. I don't find myself struggling to locate her in the backgrounds. And since the show doesn't really have a color code like us, I don't have much to say. It is very limited, and if you haven't noticed, I quite like that. The other things I might mind are in the writing area, but I would rather explain my rewrite than explain my grudges. Mostly because I don't know how to voice them right now. So, what did I change if I like her so much? You wouldn't believe me, but I kind of gave her a whole new soul. Since Nifty doesn't have a clear insect inspiration, I first had to choose what I was gonna base her on. And like many people, I chose a cockroach. It's only fitting given the way she moves and her obsession with filth. At first, I thought that Nifty wouldn't be that big of a sinner. You know, minor charges, maybe a little bit of stealing and stuff like that. But when I started going more into writing her background, things just seemed to get worse and worse. So she actually ended up being more humanoid than I expected. Like, the only insect things that she has are her antennae, limb growth, and eyes. By the way, her antennae are prehensile. She can bend them to her will to grab some stuff and from far away, which comes in very handy for the housekeeper of the hotel. I kind of fought the idea of giving her hair, but I gave in almost instantly, just because it looked cool. I also added these bangs that kind of resemble the little whisker thingies the bug has. I am a believer of Japanese Nifty, so she canonically is now. Not that it will affect her much, just a cool little detail. Another thing I wanted to do was to make her younger. The reason behind this being that I felt like her and Angel's relationship was kinda weird, in the sense that Angel seemed like Nifty's caretaker despite her being way older. That was past creators' idea. Then they found out that Nifty was 22 and Angel was 33, with 2 years of their separation, with Angel still being older. So, it's actually kind of right. Regardless, I still made her younger. This is completely due to her personality, which I plan to keep almost intact. The range for her age is now as young as 17 and as old as 20. Continuing the line of thought, she died in the 1950s, a time when the Japanese were taking in more Western fashion, so she isn't getting a kimono but keeping something close to her show attire. And while I don't mind the fact she doesn't have her poodle skirt anymore, I feel like I actually wanted to keep it. But instead of a poodle on a leash, I made it a little roach on a leash. It gives a detail while also not being really hard to draw, and it's thematic. Now, for how she died and colors, I am going to tell you about her rewriting. I, of course, wanted to exploit her liking for bad boys and also her compulsive tendencies, while adding a layer of dependency on relationships. This is my idea. One day she saw a guy doing less than good things, probably beating someone up in an alleyway, and Nifty was immediately infatuated with him. Not only the looks, but also the actions. You see, Nifty has always had a thing for bad boys, and when she saw him, she couldn't keep her eyes off of him, probably stalking him while also trying to get closer with food and arrange schedules. Eventually, she confessed to him, and he accepted her feelings, maybe even reciprocated them, but with darker intent behind it. He would turn out to be part of a gang. They would use her mostly as a cleaner, cook, and to help them cover up. After some time, they either got bored of her or they got jumped by the police and tried to leave her as the only one to buy the ballot. She didn't want them to leave, didn't want to be alone, so she made sure they didn't. She would end all of them, including herself, with an explosion. Alright, as serious as her, she died of an explosion of her own doing. Explosions translate to cracks in their bodies, heavily focused on the place that was closer to the explosion. They might bend weirdly since the light is more of a viscosity keeping the parts together. I haven't thought of a direct translation for self-termination or if it even needs one. Maybe it can translate as a heightening of behavior, with Nifty's hyperactiveness being the effect of that. Moreover, her behavior is still pretty much the same. She also still likes pain. Because I've changed her enough already, I had to give some semblance of her character. And finally, colors. I gave her blue as her main, since I felt like most of her actions were done because of that longing for connection. Yellow for gluttony due to the constant cleaning they need to do to be useful all the time. And a little bit of red for wrath. Don't really have an explanation for that, but I better find one or it's changing in the future. As for relationships, she is really dependent. Once her group abandoned her when most of them got to hell, she was left alone, and with severe depression. She would then be found by Alistair, who promised to never leave her, and they made a deal. Haz probably fears and envies her, but can be in the same room with her, and I think I'll keep it the same with Angel. She probably doesn't interact with other residents, not that the hotel has many, but her charm and personality might overwhelm some people. Charlie probably fears her a little bit, and Nifty did have a crush on pensions, until she heard him saying about becoming better. Yeah, the closest I can do for now. If Nifty is your favorite redesign, leave a comment with the cockroach emoji. And this marks the end of the third installment of this series. I really like how they turned out. They might be weird and really far-fetched, but they at least are nice, and in our context, they fit almost perfectly. I'll be glad to know what you think. What would you change? What you think I did wrong, and stuff you might want to correct me in. As always, harshness and sincerity are allowed, within reason. And yeah, I'll be happy if you leave a like. And if you want to see what other things I make next, consider subscribing. You can also follow me on my socials, they are all gonna be linked in the description. Without further ado, this is all the time I'm going to be stealing from you today. Have a nice day, afternoon, night. Take care. Bye night.